Yo, it's your boy back at it again with another One Piece review. This time, chapter 1019, titled Triceracopter, something like that. You'll see. It makes sense later on, trust me. A couple of things to go over before we start the chapter. This week is actually the 24th anniversary of One Piece, the manga. You may have heard of it. Yeah, so here on the cover of Weekly Shonen Jump, we see Luffy in a nice little space suit, looking very dapper, very clean. Seemingly this is some like JAXA cross promotion thing, some space travel thing. It's kind of like a NASA thing here. It's pretty neat. I'm just saying, this is foreshadowing, guys. We're going to space, baby. The One Piece is on the moon. Eneru's gonna join the crew. I'm calling it now. Trust me. Oda told me. Yeah. Oh, it's cool though. We also have some other neat things for the 24th anniversary. Shokugeki no Sanji, which is the spin-off series, I guess, done by the guy who does Food Wars. That's pretty neat. I believe this is the third chapter that came out. The first two were really good. I really liked the second one. It had like really surprisingly nice character interactions with Zoro and Sanji, so I like that. I might make a video on that if I remember to, because the art's really good, and I don't know, I like seeing different artists interpret Oda's world and characters, such as Boichi of Dr. Stone. I think he did like the Ace novel. He adapted that to manga, and it looked great, so it's always nice to see different interpretations of these characters. There's also a Where's Wally cross-promotion thing, which is available here on the website I'm reading on, and this is really cool. I really like this. This is the type of promotion that is, so worthwhile, you know? A lot of Shonen Jump cross-promotion stuff is kind of hit or miss, but this is brilliant. I could spend like afternoon just looking at this. I probably will after I'm finished recording this, just finding all the characters and all the little hidden Easter eggs. I believe I have found Wally, so spoiler alert if you care. He's near the bottom. He's on like the bottom floor of Onigashima. He's above Carrot and Wanda. If you see them, he's just like a bit above them. So that's pretty neat. I think that's Wally anyway. Maybe I'm wrong. Or Waldo, as the Americans would say. No, he's Wally. Shout out Wally. But you have like you have like Kaido's forces and the Straw Hats, and they all look very cool. Again, just great decision here, guys. Great cross promotion here. And then before we get to the chapter again, quickly we got the color spread for this week, which is very nice. We got to see, everyone's looking very handsome, very tropical, very summery. Hot girl summer, I guess, is in full swing. And Franky looking particularly dope with his hair. Jinbei as well, looking very cool. Nice to see the big boys of the Straw Hats being big, I guess. Speaking of Franky, well, we'll get there. But first, we got Queen, who's firing his laser. He's looking very cool. The lighting is very neat. We just see a little bit of Queen here shooting his laser out of his hand, so that's neat. And Sanji saying, Franky would think that's cool, most likely. Yeah, I agree. I think Franky would think that's cool. So it's nice that Sanji's kind of bringing the connection to Franky here, because, a lot of people theorizing that Sanji might have had his raid suit modified by Franky or Usopp, or maybe he will get it modified by them guys, which I hope is true, because I think there's a lot of potential there, so it's neat. We also see Zoro getting healed by the minx, and he's kind of freaking out. He has a big goofy face on him. He's got all his bandages on him. Yeah, it's neat. It's neat seeing like the monster trio guys, because as we see next, we also see Luffy in the Polar Tang submarine with Law's crew, and they're saying, if only the captain were here. What does that mean, Jean Bart, if only the captain was here? Is that a bit of foreshadowing? Is there going to be a miracle operation? Nobody knows. I don't know, maybe. It's probably nothing. But, so they're trying to revive him with basic first aid. It's not gonna work, guys. You know who Luffy is? If you want to heal this guy, there's only one thing that will heal him fully. And of course, that's meat, as we see on this page. Very nice, very classic, very traditional. Reminds me a lot of Impel Down when Luffy demanded meat after he was knocked out and he was healing and stuff. So nice little traditional callback there, I guess. Anyway, we move on and we get to the main bulk of this chapter, which is Franky versus Sasaki, baby. Oh yeah, we get in the fights. I'm liking this a lot. You got the pattern down, Oda. Just keep up these fights now, and we should be good. So we're in the right brain tower of Onigashima, and we see the headliners attacking Sasaki's men, which again is neat. It's nice to see the effects of Otama, the after effects and the ripple effects of her powers. And so Franky's pretty grateful that these guys are helping him fight Sasaki. And Sasaki's very pissed. He's like, oh, this is treason. Oh, I'm not going to stand for it. They're just kind of bantering. And Sasaki, as we see, turns into his big hybrid form, which kind of looks goofy. It kind of looks like, you ever see Barney the dinosaur? There was like one dinosaur who looked exactly like this. And I think very clearly a reference, big inspiration for Oda, Barney the dinosaur. Oh, I'm sure of it. Nah, but this hybrid form looks goofy, but as we'll see later, that might be a good thing, we'll get there. A couple of cool things. You can actually see the scar that Franky left on Sasaki. I believe that was in chapter 1004, I think. The big V-shaped victory slash that he left on Sasaki. It's still like bleeding out. It looks very, very painful, but anyway, Sasaki, yeah, he's a tough guy. Yeah, walk it off, Sasaki. Dinosaur looking ass. And Franky's of course still in his mech. These two seem to have been going at it for a while, they're bleeding, they're struggling a bit. And we actually did see a bit of this fight prior, again, in, I believe it was chapter 998 and 1004, and we're kind of getting the conclusion here. So Sasaki busts out his Karakuri Helix sword, which is pretty cool. Karakuri, as I researched, it's a type of like mechanical puppet, which, I don't know, you put like a sword or like a bow and arrow in its hand, and it will like, do a little action. It will slash the sword or shoot a bow and arrow. It's pretty cool. It's like a mechanical figure thing. So this sword, I'm assuming, kind of works on the same basis. It has a little mechanical component to it. It looks like it's just kind of whizzing, like a chainsaw a bit. This sword looks a lot like Renji from Bleach, like his Zanpakuto, if anyone's seen Bleach. And so Sasaki's like saying, oh, this is betrayal, I'm not going to stand for it. So this is, I believe it's pretty consistent with his character. From what I remember, he was pretty pissed when Denjiro betrayed him. So it seems like loyalty is again, it's a major theme of Wano, but particularly for Sasaki, he seems particularly involved with this whole team. And Franky's always been like a kind of loyal guy as well. He's loyal to his bros and his crew and stuff. Speaking of hybrid form though, you know what I'm absolutely terrified for? Black Maria's hybrid form. Oh god, that will be spooky. Her regular form was so weird anyway. It's like the bottom half of her was just like an entire spider, and then the top half was just like her top half. So I don't know what's going to go on with that. But it probably will be a hybrid form considering Who's Who and Sasaki both got their forms. So, yikes. Oh god, I'm kind of dreading that. We probably will get it next week though. Or actually, I believe there's a break next week, which is unfortunate for the Olympics, I think. So, the week after that, we might get Robin and Brooke, finally. Oh god, it's been so long. But, let's take our time. We got Franky this week. So, yeah, one thing that's kind of interesting is the Beast Pirates seem to be quite technologically advanced. Like, Queen and Sasaki both have like these kind of mechanical components to their weapons. It's kind of unexpected. Like, you think of the Beast Pirates, you kind of think they're just going to be a bunch of strong-headed, punchy, brawly guys, but they have some cool techniques, certainly. That was one of my fears, actually, going into Wano, that, like, all the zones would just be, like, big, strong guys without any cool, unique powers. But as we'll see later, not the case. Very much not the case. So the headliners who were turned to the good guy's side by Otama's power, they're supporting Franky. They're saying, go for it, bro. You got this. And of course, Franky's all into that. It's pretty neat. Like, it reminded me a good bit of the Franky family and kind of the Tontatas as well back in Water 7 and Dressrosa respectively. Franky's good with groups of like big people. You know, he's kind of a natural leader. Maybe not as much as Luffy or other guys, but I don't know. He has enough charisma. He's good at getting along with big groups of people, I guess. I like seeing this. One complaint that some people have had about Wano is that the Wano storyline and like the Straw Hat storyline, like it's a bit segregated. Like it doesn't tie together naturally. But I do like seeing the fact that like Otama's powers have had this specific effect on Franky, where he's reacting in a very Franky way, a very big bro leadership kind of way. It kind of has a character specific outcome from Otama's devil fruit powers. It blends it together well. So anyway, enough of that shit. We get to the good thing. The frills. The frills, baby. Not the thrills, but the frills. This is cool as hell. I can't get over this. It's so goofy, but that's what I'm saying. You know, it's a unique power. It's a cool, unique power. Sasaki is not just a big, fighty guy. He actually has cool, unique strengths, you know? It's so cool. So he's spinning his frills around like a helicopter, like a spinning top, and he just starts flying. He just starts flying. This is nuts. This is crazy. I love this so much. I can't get over it. I love this. I love when, like, a big, brooding bad guy has a really silly looking power, but it's legitimately like quite strong. And he's just, I love this panel so much, where he's just floating with his sword by his side, looming above him. It would be better if he was T-posing, but this is pretty badass all the same. Franky's eyes are shooting out. They're like, what's going on here? It's very kind of similar to Buffalo back in from the Doflamingo family. That guy, I don't know, man. I love this. It's so weird, but it's so cool. So Franky's saying, so Sasaki is like he's doing his spinny thing, and he slashes his sword and does the Triceracopter. Oh, that's the name of the chapter. Title drop. Let's go. The hype. The hype. He pretty brutally slashes at these headliner guys. That looks rough. That's gonna leave a scar there. And Franky, I really like this. Franky, like, he doesn't even know these guys, but he's still, like, so concerned for them. Don't die on me, stay with me. Yeah, classic Franky. Gotta love that shit. Good characterization, as usual. And so Franky busts out his sword, and they start going at it. And one thing I gotta say, you know, going into Wano, especially Onigashima, one thing I always said was, obviously, Wano takes big inspiration from Japan in, you know, like the swords and the samurais, and the entire aesthetic and imagery of Wano is very Japanese inspired. I always said, wouldn't it be cool if, like Franky, for example, was more inspired by like contemporary Japanese culture, as opposed to like traditional samurais and swords and all that stuff. And I think we kind of got this in this fight. This fight is very mecha, tokusatsu, sentai, you know, kaiju kind of action-y big brawl thing. And I really like it. I really, really like it. Franky's got his sword, they're shooting lasers, they're flying in the sky, they're doing all these wacky attacks. Sasaki's like a big monster guy, and it's really cool. And I really hope that the anime, when it gets to this, you know, in like 10 years, no, few years, whenever it gets to this, I hope they do go all out with the ooh, cool mecha poses. Maybe we'll get a Gynax pose from Franky. That would be badass. I just finished SSSS Dyna Zenon, which is a recently aired anime, and it was so good. It was so fun. It was just good old classic mecha stuff. Give that a watch if you're into that stuff. And Gridman as well, which was the show that came before it. Good time. And yeah, I think this is like the closest we ever get to like a Franky mecha fight. Like a full-on, he's in his mech for most of the fight. He's using his sword, his shield, his weapons, his lasers and all that good stuff. And it's cool. I'm here for it. We actually got like a mecha Franky fight. So he's defending with his sword, and they're going at it. And Franky's saying, oh, this is an aerial battle. What's up with that? Didn't expect that. Me neither, but of course, it's inevitable, I guess, with this spinny power. And Sasaki's saying Triceratops are cool, they're a special breed. I guess that's true, but like I think every dinosaur is like a special breed, you know. So Sasaki braces for a big attack, and he starts revving his engine. Very cool. And Franky says, "Are you going to rush me down?" And he puts his shield up. But Sasaki, like, this is really funny. He accidentally, like, goes backwards instead of forwards. We have this great panel where he's, like, blushing, like, yes, I meant to do that. Now I have enough space. And Franky's like, bro, no fucking way was that intentional, bro. You fucked up. You're capping. Fuck you, he says. But anyway, he does the attack. You know something I'm noticing right now? With all this talk of the sun god and stuff, Franky has like a moon on his helmet. Is this confirmed? Is Franky Satan in the One Piece world? Is he this moon demon guy? Probably not. So, yeah, Sasaki's he's flying at him and he does a big Triceracopter bullet. Very cool attack. Again, I just... the way this goofy power is being used to make this fight extra cool. Like the momentum and the speed and the energy and the kinetic energy behind it. Like, it's so good. And Franky's defending. So Franky misfires his shoulder launcher, he misfires and a big explosion in his face. However, Franky does manage to grab Sasaki and do a classic general suplex. Boom, right there. Of course, Franky loves his suplexes. Go read Dressrosa, Franky vs. Senor Pink. We'll talk a bit about that later. But he smashes them into the ground and he says, yeah, your belly's got to be your weak spot. Which is kind of funny considering Franky's back is his weak spot. So it's kind of a contrast thing there. And he goes in with the sword for a victory V-slash. But Sasaki just flies up and he's like, hey, no, not today. And they're just kind of slashing for a bit. And eventually, Sasaki just like cuts Franky's sword in half. Use hockey next time, Franky. Please, sir, use hockey. He slashes it in half. I wonder what grade that sword was. I wonder if it was literally the strongest sword ever. Rip the sword. Best sword in the series. Enma. Who even is Enma? Come on. Franky sword. Masterpiece. And Franky's freaking out. He's running away. He's like, okay, I'm going to finish this in one fell swoop. So Sasaki comes in with the attack, the Triceracopter bullet again. And Franky uses his big cannon, his general cannon, shoots Sasaki way up in the air. Sasaki's, he's freaking out, blood, he's throwing up blood. His eyes go wide for a second. But then he says, listen, the Toby Ropo, we're the big boys of Kaido's crew. Everyone's scared of us. I'm taking you down. If I'm going down, you're coming with me. And he goes back in for another Triceratops attack. Franky sees this, and the mech, Franky's like mech, kind of just gets destroyed, but he's able to eject at the last second and launch a massive radical beam right into Sasaki's stomach. And this panel is so badass. Oh, the composition here. Oh my, it's so good. The scale, like the scale of it, the lighting. It's so cool. I love the way Franky's just like at the side, tumbling. Oh, you can just feel the weight behind this shit. It's going to be so cool in the anime. Great finishing attack. And Sasaki's out of here, guy. He's done. I think Sasaki's done. And that's basically the end of that fight. I think. I don't think we're going to see any more of it. Now, this was a good fight. I liked it a lot. The choreography was good. The attacks were cool. It was, I was substantial. I enjoyed it. I'm fairly satisfied with the fight overall. However, I do have some small complaints, but I also have a silver lining, I guess, in some regard. Franky vs. Senor Pink is one of my favorite fights in One Piece, because it just hits so well on the character side of things. Senor Pink is a great character. The ending of that fight is just brilliant. The entire, manly, theme and aesthetic of that fight is so cool, and I love it so much. And it just blurs that perfect shonen line of goofiness with sincerity, and it's so good. It's one of the best things Oda's written. It's my favorite fight post time skip. Maybe the Katakuri fight I think I would like a bit more, but it's so good, and I love Franky's character there. I ultimately think the choreography in this fight is better, because in Senor Pink versus Franky, it was quite important to the fight that they were just using the same attacks and they weren't dodging. It was like a whole test of endurance kind of thing, like a big manly brawl. It was important in that fight. This fight is definitely more of a 1v1, You get a lot of cool techniques. You know, I love the helicopter frilly, spinny thing. That was really funny. And it was cool. Like, it was worked really well in the fight. And Franky got a lot of cool attacks, certainly. So I'm happy in that regard. And again, mecha show. One Piece is now a mecha show, guys. Trust me. I'm sure the anime will go sicko mode on that. The choreography was great. However, I didn't really love the fight from a character writing perspective for both Sasaki or Franky. I felt like it was a bit underwhelming. There were nice moments where Franky, you know, showed that big bro side of his character, which is nice to see, but it was very, you know, very quick, not really substantial, not really... I don't know, it just wasn't great. Didn't give me like a huge emotional punch like Franky and Senior Pink did. Sasaki, likewise, you know, really, he wasn't that great. He had like his whole thing about loyalty, which is nice, but I think it's just like a general larger theme of the arc. Like, I don't think it's really... His perspective on loyalty and betrayal like isn't particularly unique, I guess. He's alright, but he's kind of just like a big brooding guy from what I see. If we look at Jinbei versus Who's Who, which happened, you know, a few weeks ago, like Who's Who had a full-on backstory. There was importance in the fact that like he was a ex-CP9 member fighting Jinbei. And of course Jinbei had some nice moments with his reference to the Fishman history and all that stuff. It was cool. It was pretty solid characterization overall. It was just nice, solid character moments. I didn't really get that here in this fight in particular. Like, it wasn't bad, but it just was quite, like, underwhelming. Like, there wasn't much writing, like, from the character writing at all, really. It was just, like, a pretty good fight. Which is unfortunate considering how much I love Franky versus Senior Pink from a writing perspective. However, this is the silver lining. I think this fight is done, but I do think we might see a bit more from Franky and Sasaki, because, you know, as many people have theorized, I'm not the first one to say this, but Franky and Sasaki might be brothers, kind of, or like stepbrothers or something, because a lot of people think Sasaki is actually the son of Tom and Kokoro, which was mentioned way back in the day in Water 7, that their son was a pirate on the high seas. He was out exploring, and he has the same color scheme. He's a fish man. He wears a conductor's hat like Kokoro does. There's a lot of, you know, he fought Franky as well. That's the main kind of thing. There's a lot of signs pointing to him being Franky's like long lost kind of brother in a way, and also Chimney's father, perhaps, maybe, I don't know. You know, if we think back to Franky and Senior Pink, it was after the fight where like the most beautiful character moment came out, where Franky, you know, wiped the tears from Senior Pink's eyes and said, you can tell me that story over a drink. We'll bro it out, basically. And I love that moment so much. It's like my favorite moment in One Piece. But that's why I'm saying, potentially, next chapter, or maybe in a few chapters, we will get to see the fallout from this fight, and it will be revealed that these guys are like brothers, and they might bro it out, or maybe Franky might be like pissed off, maybe for, you know, Sasaki like leaving Tom, or maybe Sasaki doesn't even realize Tom is dead, because seemingly Tom and Kokoro's son, whoever he is, was not around when like Franky and Iceberg were growing up. Like maybe he showed up like occasionally, but he was probably pretty absent. So maybe he just doesn't know that Tom is dead. And that could be fucking powerful. It could be emotional. It could be really, really good if Oda decides to go in that route. I hope he does, and that we get some really nice character moments from Franky here. Because so far, I'm left a bit underwhelmed in that regard. But the fight is good. It was surprisingly... Like, I read it this morning, and I thought it was like a bit short. But after reading it again, and actually reading chapter 1004, I realized that the fight's pretty substantial. Like, I recommend going back and reading 10.4, because we actually do get about 2 pages of fight there, if you're curious. So, anyway, fight was cool. That's just my opinions there on this fight. So, I don't know if you disagree or agree, let me know, why not. Okay, and then we get to the end of the chapter, where we get some very interesting reveals. So we get a little bit of the fight with Kaido and Yamato. Classic Kaido, he's going sicko mode right there. And he's, beating up his son, world's best dad. So we find out that, Kaido, kind of like Big Mom did to Kaido, Kaido supplied Yamato with his devil fruit in some way. So Yamato says he ate the fruit because he was hungry, which is kind of tragic to me. Like, the way I read into this was like, I'm guessing Kaido probably starved Yamato, or like just punished him in some way for misbehaving, and Yamato was probably starving, and like he was forced to eat the devil fruit because he was so hungry. And that's just painful. You should never be in a position where you're forced to eat a goddamn devil fruit just to sustain yourself. That's nuts. I believe Ace was actually in the similar situation when he got his fruit. He was like starving on an island, and I think he didn't know it was devil fruit though, so different kind of situation. But a nice little parallel nonetheless. Yamato was saying like, Kaido, I tried to kill you a bunch of times, and it made me stronger every time I tried to fight you, and the shackles weren't the only thing keeping me here. And then we see it. We see Yamato's devil fruit, and I have no idea what's going on here. But I like it. It's very much his own, I think very clearly. Probably mythical, maybe ancient, something like that. It looks like a Sulong form. He says, if I abandon this country, how could I call myself Odin? Which, okay, classic, bring that up again, Odin. Gotta love Kozuki Odin. Kaido's heart is probably breaking here, but then again, he probably doesn't even have a heart. Or I think Law said, I wonder where a dragon's heart would be, so thanks for that, Law. Thank you. Yep, thanks, Law. Anyway, what is this devil fruit? We need to talk about this, because for the longest time, a lot of us thought that Yamato's devil fruit would be the white tiger devil fruit, and it would be like, there was some mythology there, it seemingly was like the counter to the koi fish or something like that, it was some mythology. This doesn't exactly look like a tiger to me. I've seen a lot of theories going around. Some people say it's Tanuki, some people say it's Chimera, some people say it's a Ninetales. And I certainly do think it could be a mythological creature. I think it definitely is. The interesting one I've seen thrown around though is the Kirin, the Kirin, something like that. It's a Chinese mythological creature, which I'd recommend looking it up. I'll probably put a picture on screen. It looks like a deer and a dragon, and I kind of really like its design. And that's kind of what Yamato's looking like. He's looking like kind of a Pokemon. Some sort of Pokemon, some sort of Yu-Gi-Oh! Mythical beast or something like that. I'm a bit hit or miss on it. Like, it just looks really different what Oda would usually show us. It kind of looks like a goat to me. So, obviously, of course, bring up the goat. Yamato goated, confirmed. Goated. Shout out Yamato. Oh, he's a cool guy. Interestingly, speaking on the dragon point, or the tiger point, excuse me, there was actually this piece of artwork which always stuck in my mind. I believe Oda drew it around the time of Whole Cake Island. It was a promo piece of artwork for Wano, which featured, interestingly, a blue koi fish and a big white tiger. So I think that's quite interesting. Like, back then no one knew Kaido's devil fruit would be a blue fishy koi guy. But who knows, like, we're here now, and it is that, so I have no idea what this devil fruit is. I hope we get a reveal, and I hope we see more of this fight. The fact that we are, seeing a new devil fruit form, it makes me think, there's something more to this fight. Like, we'll see at least a chapter of this fight. Because we are getting to the fights now, so maybe we'll see this next week. I'm putting my money on Robin and Brooke next week, though, or in the coming weeks, whenever the next chapter is. But solid chapter overall. Yeah, nice. It again felt good and substantial. Again, with Franky, I was pretty happy, but I hope we get, a bit more character in the next chapters, whenever they are. Anyway, that's going to be all for this video, so I guess, bye.